I first spotted Hokan Colting in the pages of the Globe and Mail report on business, and the reason it caught my eye is that moving broadcast signals around, television signals around, is actually quite an expensive business. Either you have to build tall towers, find the land, get the structure up, put in the guy wires, whatever, or build a CN tower, or shoot up a satellite, which is really expensive. And the thought of hovering a balloon up there, or somewhere in between, is really, really appealing. The second reason, and I think even more important one, is that I was captured. There was an illustration by the just sheer romance of this new kind of airship that Holkan has invented. It's spherical in shape, and it's really beautiful. You'll see. Okay.
Eight days ago, on June 12th, I was in Drumheller, Alberta. I was preparing the airship for a high altitude test, and it doesn't look like a traditional airship, cigar shape with a gondola at the bottom. Instead, it's spherical. It have no, this doesn't work. It have no outside gondola. Instead, the pilot and passenger is sitting inside an igloo-like cabin. And you can see the people sitting up there. One person came up to me and he said, "What is that?" And I said, it's an airship. And talked a little bit more, asked more questions, and then he came with a question. How did you ever come up with that idea? And I thought that was a good question, so I tried to trace it. And I'm going to take you on the journey. It's like a chain of events that leading up to the final result. When I was growing up, I was always interested in aviation, and eventually I started to fly gliders. One afternoon when I was flying, I saw a balloon in the sky, and this was back in 1974, so there weren't that many balloons around. It looked very interesting. I flew around it a couple of times, and I decided to try to track down the pilot, which I eventually succeeded to do. He took me on a balloon ride, 20 minutes, and that was it. I bought a balloon that same evening. And when the balloon arrived, I had been promised to get lessons how to fly it. The pilot that had sold the balloon to me didn't have time, and I couldn't wait. So 3 people, we took the balloon out, tried to put it together. I had paid close attention to those 20 minutes, how he was flying it. So we managed to get it up in the air. We flew for 2 hours, and I continued to fly that summer every morning and evening that the weather permitted. When I finally was signed off as a pilot later on in the summer, I had more piloting hours than the person that signed me off. This was extremely fun. To fly in a balloon is like you're standing in the basket and you don't move through the air. It's the ground that's moving under you. It's a feeling of freedom. And like many people do with their hobby, they make it a business. And I started a balloon manufacturing company. For the next couple of years, I traveled the world, flying balloons, selling balloons, demonstrating balloons. Had a lot of fun. 78 was a great year. I met my wife, Elizabeth. Together we got the first flight in an airship, the Goodyear Blimp. And 78 was also the first time I know of that I was reported as a UFO. I flew a hot air balloon over Bangkok, Thailand, and next day in the English papers there were a picture about the balloon, and they had so many reports, because this was the first time a balloon had flown in Thailand. When we had our first flight in the Goodyear airship, that was like a balloon, but you had engines and you could fly from A to B. However, there was one thing with the flight that surprised me. Every time the pilot took off and landed, he had 22 people on the ground assisting him. And I started to think, can't you make a better airship? Something that doesn't require that number of people. But it took about 10 years. In 81, we moved to Canada. I sold my factory manufacturing for balloons. In Canada, we flew hot air balloons for passenger rides, for advertising. We flew advertising for companies. We started the Remax balloon program that you probably have seen some balloons around. In 88, we started the company 21st Century Airships, and the object was to come up with a technology for regular cigar-shaped blimps. A better technology that made them, that you can fly them, land them, and take off with just a few people on the ground. And initially completely focused on the cigar shape. I invented a new technology for steering and altitude control. And as we were playing around with models, it dawned on me that you can use it for any shape. And the spherical shape have many advantages over the cigar shape. So in 91, we were ready to fly our first manned prototype. I asked the experts at the time, and the experts were the people that were in the airship business building traditional blimps. What do you think of this? Spherical airship. The dumbest idea they have heard. And they said that the airship will be, you won't be able to control it. It will be completely unmaneuverable. And we went ahead anyway. There is a little story. Experts, if you take an aeronautical engineer, he can tell you that the bumblebee can't fly. The body is too large and the wingspan is too short. The bumblebee doesn't care about the expert. Just keep on flying. And I did the same thing. We built a number of prototypes, and an airship looks deceptively simple. It's more to it than what you actually see. So it has taken quite a few prototypes to get where we are. And if we can roll the video. Can we roll the video?
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
He's singing.
Yes, here he goes again. Hey, you know, if you fly long enough over the city or the skies of our beautiful city of Atlanta, you see just about everything, ladies. And I'm going to prove it to you right now. Check this out. I don't know if you're going to believe your eyes. We're out here flying with the biggest baseball in the free world, or in the whole world for that matter. This is a 43-foot, this thing actually is a blimp. Can you see this thing? It's got a couple of, it's got engines on it.
Cool.
There are two people, a pilot and a passenger, up inside that thing. Can you see them inside there?
Yeah.
This is going to be in town for the duration during the Olympics, and let's face it, maybe even the victory parade.
He's waving.
Yeah, he's waving.
Back.
There it is. This is a 43-foot helium-filled balloon. They call it the Ball of Dreams, built by an outfit out of Toronto, Canada, and there it is. You'll see it over downtown Atlanta as we wait for the Braves to clinch it and bring it on home. That's it. Well, let's leave that picture up there, Brewster. Frame it up on the right-hand side, and we'll put the current conditions out of Hartsfield Airport right up there on the screen, along with the world's biggest baseball. 71 degrees right now, 57% the relative humidity. Pressure is steady, winds out of the southeast. Now at 6 miles an hour, causing that baseball not to travel very fast. You only do about 25 miles an hour. There are the records. Got up to 72 today, and the overnight low, a kind of chilly 43 degrees. Brian, I heard one of the traffic reporters saying, I think that's the ball that Fred McGriff hit the other night, and it's just staying up here. What do you think?
It could be. Can you imagine the size of the glove that it would take to catch that thing?
Yeah,
And the nice thing about it is it's under its own power, so if you pay off the driver, you can get a home run out of that thing.
That's it. It's on its way, man.
Well, you radio over there and see what you can do, and maybe send that up to Cleveland and get it out into the left field seats for Game 3 tomorrow night.
It is out of here.
Yeah, beautiful day to be floating around over North Georgia, and for that matter, all across the state. The temperature coming in. So, Bruce, it looks like the rest of the week is going to be pretty nice.
Sounds good, Brian. Got a good start to it anyhow. And we'll take one more look at the big old balloon here, or blimp rather, baseball blimp, as it gets ready to land at the Fulton County Airport. And we'll put your conditions for the evening hours up here. We'll call it for the remainder of the night. Partly cloudy with an overnight low of about 57 degrees. And then tomorrow you can look for a mostly cloudy day, as Bryce says. Wait for that frontal system to blow on through here. Temperature not too bad at about 72. And then we'll just pop up your 5-day forecast right over that picture, and you'll see that pretty nice weather as we head on into the weekend, and who knows, we may have wrapped it up. If we don't, we're going to have the big old baseball here to help us do it right here in Atlanta, GA. But we got pretty darn good weather coming up for the next few days. Ladies?
Before we painted that airship as a baseball, we had some problems. I flew it down from north of Toronto down to Buttonville once, and before I came into the Buttonville control zone, I was monitoring the radio, and I heard a frantic pilot call, "Buttonville Tower, this is Cessna so-and-so. There is a big white ball floating around here. It looks like it has engines on it, but there's nobody in it." When I finally landed at Buttonville, the controllers called me and said, "There is 5 police cars out here. People have been calling in and reporting that there is a UFO landing at Buttonville." So by painting it as a baseball, that took away that problem. We have, there is some serious applications for airships. And one of the applications that we have worked on for the last 4 years is as a high altitude platform, where the airship going to fly unmanned, of course, up at 60 to 70,000 feet, which is up in the stratosphere. This is about double the altitude that a normal airliner fly at. And up at that altitude, it would be more or less stationary. It can carry telecommunication equipment, replacing thousands of the towers that you have now on the ground for wireless. And it can be used for military purposes, for surveillance, for environmental purposes. And we have worked on a stepping stone process. If we're coming back now to Drumheller, our intention was to go to at least 20,000 feet, and we had a number of features on the airship that we wanted to check out. And this is, we were hanging a camera outside, so this is approximately what it looked like. We took off about 9 o'clock in the morning, and we climbing very slowly, 300 to 400 feet per minute. By shortly after 10, we were up at 21,000 feet, and that's the absolute world altitude record for airships. A normal, regular cigar-shaped blimp, they have a hard time getting up to 5,000 feet. After we had done our tests that worked out successfully, we descended to 13,000 feet. We shut off the engines. We were just sitting there like a balloon flying above the clouds. We were flying for 10 more hours. We had our lunch and our dinner up in the airship. It was a fantastic feeling. You had the clouds, as you can see, just above you. We moved slightly faster than the clouds, so we kept coming into clear space, clouds, clear space, and without doing any maneuvering, without using any engines, we were sitting there between 12,500 to 13,500 feet the whole day. The airship that are going to be up in the stratosphere have to be very large, because helium expands as you go higher in the atmosphere. And the proposed airship is going to be 260 feet in diameter. That's like a 26-story building high. And you can put inside there, you can put 2 737 airliners, one after another, and they fit nicely. Airships have other applications today. Of course, you have seen the advertising airships. They can be used for sightseeing. You can use the airships to go to the rainforest. You can have, when they try to collect samples from the rainforest, some of the most attractive areas is the tops of the forest, and that can be accessed by an airship. You can actually land the airship on top of the forest. To continue to develop the high altitude airship, we have to go to one more intermediate step. We're going to build an airship that can fly at 35 to 40,000 feet. And to do that, we have decided that we're going to go, the airship has to be that large, 130 feet in diameter. And we can actually fly the airship around the world, which we hope to do next year or the following. That will be a flight that takes us at 30 to 40,000 foot level around the world, the longest flight ever in the Earth's atmosphere, something you can only just do with an airship. We're going to fly in the jet stream, and the flight going to take about 2 weeks. I have one more video if we have any time left. We can just take a couple of minutes of it.
I knew you'd be great.